The story begins with a young girl narrating the time when angels fell from the sky. They called this event as the fall. The clouds go dark and the angels are plummeting from the sky. I've seen better CGI on Tubi. A man named Brian is in the department store checking out some dolls. He grabs one doll and he goes to the counter to check it out, along with a case of beer. He reaches out his payment to the cashier. As the cashier is processing his payment, she drops Brian's change. Brian is clearly terrified by the coins dropping, probably reminding him of his homosexual days. The cashier quickly picks up the change, but Brian is gone when she turns around. As Brian walks home, he sees several young girls practicing ballet. When he arrives home, he quickly grabs a bottle of beer and opens a drawer to get a bottle opener. There are a lot of brown markers inside the drawer as well. He opens the bottle of beer and proceeds to wrap the doll that he bought from the store earlier. It appears that this doll is his Christmas gift for his daughter named Tabitha. Brian places the gift underneath the Christmas tree. It also shows that there are a lot of gifts underneath the tree already. Afterward, Brian settles on the chair and watches Tubi movies. In the evening, Brian's wife named Amy arrives home from work. She apologizes for coming home late because there have been some issues with her schedule. Amy asks Brian if he has already eaten, but Brian says that he hasn't yet. Amy tells Brian that she'll change her clothes quickly because she doesn't want to be late. Amy goes inside the room. Brian looks at a ballerina decoration on the Christmas tree, and he recalls a few flashbacks of their daughter dancing. Amy walks back to the living room and tells Brian that they need to go. Brian tells Amy that he doesn't feel good, maybe because of something that he's eaten. Amy clocks him, telling Brian that he said he didn't eat anything earlier. Being caught lying, Brian tells the truth, saying that he doesn't want to go, and apologizes to Amy. Amy tells Brian that he should have told her earlier since she's already gone through the hassle of sorting out her schedule at work. Amy tells Brian that their therapist advised them to meet other couples who have gone through the same thing of having their children die. Brian argues, saying that their daughter Tabitha is not dead, but missing. He tells Amy to stop pressuring him. Amy says that she's not pressuring Brian and she will go alone. Amy stands up and leaves. Brian kind of fine. The next day, Brian goes to a hypnotherapist who calmly asks him to narrate the events that led to Tabitha's disappearance. Brian narrates the story, saying that he picked up Tabitha from her ballet practice and they walked to a store to get some ice cream. As Brian is paying for the ice cream, Tabitha, who is also fond of dogs, saw a dog outside and she wanted to pet it. Brian told her that she can, but she cannot go far. Brian's change fell on the ground and he picked it up. When he looked outside to check for Tabitha, Tabitha is already gone. Brian says that he saw a minivan nearby the store and tries to remember its license plate number. Brian goes to the police station to provide them with the plate number, hoping to get some lead about Tabitha's whereabouts. The young girl continues to narrate that some people think that the angels that fell from the sky are here to save humanity, while others believe they are here to destroy it. The narrator describes that the angels look more monstrous than holy. Amy attends the group session alone, and she starts talking about Tabitha. She says that Tabitha really wanted to be a ballerina. Tabitha always wanted a pair of brown ballet shoes, but the dance store nearby them only carried pink ballet shoes. What Brian did is he would take out brown Sharpies and color the pink shoes over. The color looked ghetto AF, but Tabitha really loves it. Amy grieves about having a lot of brown Sharpies, and she doesn't know what to do with them anymore now that her daughter is missing. A woman in the support group interjects, saying that the support group is for parents who have dead children and not missing children. The woman says that Amy wants her daughter to be dead. This girl PMO so bad. Amy says that she's done with her story. Afterwards, she gets a call from the detective about the license plate Brian gave him, but he thinks it's a bunch of hoobaloo since he got it from a hypnotherapist. Amy is about to drive home when she sees a young ballerina running across the street. She thinks that the girl is Tabitha, so she decides to chase her. Amy reaches an abandoned place, and there she sees a decapitated head of an angel instead. Girl, that's some Prometheus-looking shh. Amy is terrified, and she takes this as a sign that Tabitha might be dead. Back home, Amy is sitting somberly when Brian arrives from work. He opens the drawer to get the beer opener, and he quickly notices that the brown markers are gone. Brian asks Amy about the markers, and she says that Tabitha's dead. Brian becomes confused. Amy explains that she feels that Tabitha's gone for good. Brian says that he cannot believe that Amy's giving up on their daughter. Amy says otherwise, saying that she's trying to survive each day that Tabitha's gone. She tells Brian that the statistics say that there's only a 1% chance that Tabitha's coming back. Brian is disappointed and storms out of the room, leaving Amy crying. The next day, while Brian is fixing Tabitha's bed, he receives a call from a private investigator. The investigator informs Brian that he has found the owner of the license plate number. He provides Brian with the address where the owner lives, and Brian thanks him. The next scene cuts to Amy walking inside the police station. It appears that Brian got arrested for trespassing at the address provided to him by the investigator. Brian approaches Amy and tells her that he's fine. Amy tells him that they need to go since Tommy, a guy from her grief group, is waiting outside. Tommy drives Amy and Brian home. As soon as they arrive home, the couple starts to argue. Amy calls out Brian for the trespassing that he did. She says he ain't no Encyclopedia Brown, he Encyclopedia Black. Brian tells her that she doesn't understand him. He says that his daughter is missing for 16 months and his wife wants to bury her real quick. Amy argues that she doesn't say anything when Brian drinks himself to sleep, when he buys a lot of Christmas gifts for their daughter who is nowhere to be found, or when he does not go to work because he is too stressed out by their daughter's disappearance. Then she admits that she getting her back broken by Tommy. Brian is surprised, but he brushes it off immediately. Amy asks Brian to fight for her, but Brian don't give a flying. He wants to focus his time on Tabitha. Amy leaves the room. Brian enters a diner to buy something to drink. He talks to the waitress named Tony, and Tony gives him tequila and they drink together. Tony says he can break her back if that's what he's here for. However, Brian says he's married, even though his wife trifling. Tony talks about having an epiphany the other day. During her break time, she sees a man across the diner who looks like he's selling drugs. She approaches the man, and the man tells her that he's selling pure angel blood, straight from the creatures that fell from the sky. Tony buys a pack and she consumes it immediately. This like true blood. Her vision and memory immediately become blurry. Soon she throws up in the bathroom. She washes her face, and when she looks in the mirror, she is mouthless and has dark eyes. I would die if I couldn't give head no more. She tells Brian that she's a monster. Brian says that he's a monster too. After a few drinks of alcohol, the two dance in the diner. They are about to kiss when Tony says that she forgot to pick up some change. She goes to the counter and gets some coins. She drops several coins to the ground. Since Brian has a trauma to the sound of falling coins, he immediately leaves the diner, leaving Tony with blue cherries. As Brian walks through a dark street, he sees a young girl running. He thinks that the girl is Tabitha, and he quickly chases her. Brian sees a brown marker lying on the ground, and he picks it up. He follows the trail of the markers, and it leads him towards a dumpster. Brian opens the dumpster, and he sees an angel inside. He notices that the angel is bleeding on its stomach. The narrator says that maybe the angels come down to earth not to save anyone, but rather for humans to save them. Brian carries the angel towards their home and into Tabitha's bed. Amy sits beside the angel, and she removes the newspaper that covers the angel's wound. They see a big, fresh wound on the angel's stomach. Brian says that he will bring some washcloths and leaves. When Brian comes back, he asks Amy if they need to call the cops. Amy is against the idea, saying that the cops will just take the angel away. Brian says that humans are chopping off angels to drain their blood and profiting off of them. Amy says that humans are animals, and she asks Brian the reason why the angels come down to earth. Brian says that maybe heaven is a dark place. Amy stares at the angel and says that maybe the angels are here for them. The angel wakes up and Amy and Brian are still sleeping. The angel starts twitching its body, causing the couple to wake up. The angel thanks the couple by getting a small amount of blood from its wound and feeding it to both Amy and Brian. Soon enough, they experience something similar to what Tony from the diner experienced. It appears that the blood has accelerated their grieving process. Amy says that she feels strange, and Brian starts to have a monologue about getting old without a daughter and missing a lot in his life. He asks Amy what to do with his life, and Amy says that she doesn't know. Amy commands Brian to take down the Christmas tree because it stinks and it smells like their grandma. Brian frankly says no. This angers Amy and she starts destroying the presents underneath the Christmas tree and the tree itself, while Brian blankly stares at her. Then Amy and Brian are both lying on the floor. Now the couple is sitting across each other, and Brian asks Amy if Tommy ate her kitty good. Amy says that he did, and they did it in their house. Amy hysterically laughs while Brian is clearly furious, and he storms out of the room. Brian goes straight to the grief group, and he punches Tommy in the face hard. He immediately goes back home and tells Amy that he went to the grief group. Amy wraps a bandage around Brian's knuckles while they talk about the time when they first hold hands. The two seem to be genuinely happy. Brian tells Amy that he loves her, and the two start kissing. They take off their clothes, and the angel is walking slowly towards them. Oh, this better not be some kinky threesome. Amy and Brian proceed to have an intimate time. The angel stands on the chair and cuts its throat, which causes blood to pour all over Amy and Brian while they do the nasty. The couple is transported to an empty theater. They are both still blood-soaked, clueless to what's happening to them. They see a pink jacket on one of the chairs, and the curtains on the stage suddenly open. Amy and Brian see Tabitha on stage, happily dancing ballet. They both cry as they watch their daughter perform. The narrator says that no one knows the exact reason why the angels came to Earth, but Amy and Brian have a theory. They know that Tabitha is gone for good, but E.T. gave them the chance to say goodbye to their long-lost daughter. And that's the end of this story. It was an episode of Monsterland, an anthology series. What did you guys think of this one? Grief is such a heavy thing to experience, and any parents who have lost a child find it hard to reconnect as a couple.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.